Mr. Jar Jar Binks! Mr. Shit! Oh, me gonna sell lots of toys for you, Mr. George Lucas! But did it really? Did the Jar Jar Binks effect work? In short, no. George Lucas banked on Jar Jar... Binksed on Jar Jar to make lots of bank. And yes, the movie was financially successful, but only because so many people waited 20 years and rushed to see it upon its release. The same summer, The Matrix was released and The Mummy. And on our podcast that is upcoming, you will hear how I spent the entire build up to that summer in college studying media, talking about Star Wars Episode 1. And then when we came back after that summer, we did not even mention Episode 1. We only spoke about The Matrix. Star Wars Episode 1 is a two hour, whatever runtime it is, toy commercial. The film is absolutely shocking. I remember about a month before its release, I was bought the screenplay with photos to the film, and I read the first page and stopped. Part because I did not want to spoil it for myself when I went to see it at the cinema, but also because once I'd read that first page, I felt no emotion from the dialogue. And my word, neither did the actors. The actors really just read that script. They did not act it. The only highlight in that movie are the lightsaber duels, and that's not enough, because yes, Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon was absolutely fantastic, and for a brief 10-minute stint of the movie you had forgotten about the awful Jar Jar Binks, the awful droid army and the sterile acting, and you were finally hooked. But that's all that film delivered. The storyline, for those who haven't seen it, is it opens up Star Wars and then goes on about tax and trade federation and embargoes. This is not what we expected from Star Wars. Yes, Star Wars Episode 4, I really hate calling it Episode 4, but Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope as it is now known, does go on about the Imperial Senate and does talk about how the galaxy became an empire, briefly, but only very briefly, just enough to give you some backdrop and exposition on the universe you now are immersing yourself within. And then it gets on with the business of a bit of swashbuckle, a bit of laser, and lots of Star Wars. This film goes on and on and on. The pod race is a highlight. Yes, the pod race is very good, but it is ruined by cheesy commentators, by Jar Jar Binks again, and by stupid jokes throughout. Star Wars Episode 1 is like Revenge of the Fallen. It's a movie that has too much money and no secondary producer telling George Lucas that this is not the way to go. It is exactly the same as what I said about Michael Bay with Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. No one told him no. There was too much power in one man, and with great power comes shit films, because it seems there is no responsibility with the power of $1 billion producer / director. They go all out and just jerk off all over the screen. The whole film, because George Lucas could now achieve anything he wanted, he created an absolute atrocity on the screen and called it Star Wars. He also did this with the 97 re-releases of Star Wars. Many of the additions he made were interesting, worth a DVD bonus release, but the dance and sing-along scene in Return of the Jedi, that proved that Lucas had too many ideas that thankfully were blocked by limited technology. Now, with technology completely at his command, he was able to do anything he wanted without even thinking or wondering, is it any good? Now, don't get me wrong, if you cut out Jar Jar Binks and all the stupid jokes, like with Revenge of the Fallen, you get actually a reasonably decent movie, but you do not get anything that is even close to episode 4, 5 and 6. This film truly sucks. I give it a very, very limp 1 lightsaber out of 10.